The locked door on the third floor doesn't make a sound when Yasmin Rosenthal turns the master key. Inside, expensive adaptive equipment sits covered in dust, thousands of dollars worth of hope abandoned like forgotten furniture. A 12-year-old girl rocks violently in a wheelchair by the window, her diaper unchanged, her beautiful nursery transformed into a prison disguised as protection. This is Nadia Al-Mansour. For 18 months, she has existed 3 floors above her family's perfect life. Downstairs, her father leads Friday prayers at the mosque. Her older siblings excel at prestigious universities. Community members praise the Al-Mansour family as a model of success, the kind of Muslim household that represents everything right about immigrant achievement. What they don't know is that this perfect family has erased their youngest daughter from existence, convinced that her cerebral palsy brings shame they cannot afford. Yasmin is 62, Jewish, and still grieving her own daughter who died of cancer 2 years ago. She came to this estate needing work, needing purpose, needing something to fill the devastating silence of her empty apartment. She wasn't looking to save anyone. She's just a housekeeper who happened to hear rhythmic thumping from a locked room and made a choice that would change everything. But here's what makes this story different. Yasmin doesn't call authorities. She doesn't confront or lecture. Instead, she sits on the floor beside Nadia's wheelchair and begins to hum a wordless melody she once sang to her own dying daughter. And for the first time in months, Nadia's unfocused eyes suddenly lock onto hers. Stay with us to witness how one woman's refusal to look away became the catalyst that forced a family to confront the difference between honor and hiding, and how sometimes healing requires us to speak out when silence becomes complicity. Yasmin Rosenthal's fingers found Rachel's necklace before she knocked. A habit now, this touching of the Star of David resting against her collarbone. 2 years gone, and still her hand reached for proof that her daughter had existed. The door opened to reveal a man whose composure felt practiced, like a suit worn so long it shaped itself to the body beneath. Tariq Al-Mansour, 45 according to the employment agency, extended his hand with the efficiency of someone accustomed to interviews that didn't matter. "Mrs. Rosenthal, thank you for coming." The house swallowed sound. Yasmin had cleaned wealthy homes for 3 decades. She knew the difference between quiet and silence. This was silence, the kind that came from rooms no one truly lived in. The living room where Tariq conducted the interview held furniture, arranged like a museum exhibit. Everything matched, nothing showed wear. Photographs lined the mantel in expensive frames, 3 children frozen in achievement, a young man in a white coat, stethoscope draped like a trophy, young woman at a podium, law tongue. Review certificate visible in the background. A teenage boy holding a guitar, stage lights catching his serious expression. "Your references are exceptional," Tariq said, barely glancing at the papers. "The position is straightforward. General housekeeping, some meal preparation. The hours are... May I see the whole house?" Yasmin kept her voice neutral, professional. "I like to understand the space." Something flickered across his face, not quite reluctance, more like calculation. The tour moved efficiently through pristine rooms that showed no evidence of actual living. Kitchen spotless, appliances gleaming, no magnets on the refrigerator. Dining room with a table that seated 12, not a scratch on its surface. 2 floors of bedrooms, each decorated in hotel neutrality. Then the 3rd floor. Tariq's pace quickened as they climbed the final staircase. Storage mostly, you won't need to... But Yasmin had already noticed. 4 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, but the architectural symmetry suggested a 5th above. And there, a door at the end of the 3rd floor hallway, different from the others. Newer lock, the kind that required a key from the outside. "I'll need keys for all rooms," she said, "for cleaning." Tariq's jaw tightened, then relaxed, the composure sliding back into place. "Of course. The agency mentioned you could start immediately? Tomorrow, if you need me." She was hired in the time it took to sign paperwork. Too fast, too easy. Yasmin had learned to recognize desperation disguised as decisiveness. That evening, she returned as agreed to pick up keys and review the household schedule. Tariq was gone, at mosque, the note said, and the house sat empty in that particular way that felt less like absence and more like holding its breath. The 3rd floor was quiet when Yasmin climbed the stairs. The locked room was not. Rhythmic thumping, regular, desperate, the sound of someone trying to be heard. Yasmin's hand shook as she turned the master key. The door opened on a nursery designed by someone with unlimited money and limited imagination. Pale pink walls, expensive carpet, adaptive equipment still in packaging, dust gathering on boxes that promised mobility, independence, dignity. And by the window, a girl, 12 years old maybe, rocking violently in a wheelchair positioned to see nothing but sky. Her diaper hung heavy with hours of neglect. Her hair, beautiful and dark, had matted into tangles that spoke of days without brushing. Her eyes, unfocused, desperate, stared at nothing. No family photos on these walls, no evidence this child had ever been celebrated, displayed, claimed. Yasmin's breath caught. Rachel's final months rushed back. The hospital bed, the careful bathing, the way she'd narrated every movement so her dying daughter would know she wasn't alone in her body's betrayal. The girl rocked, the wheelchair thumped against the wall, and downstairs, the mantel displayed only 3 children. 6 a.m. felt obscene. Its kindness. Golden light spilling through windows that Yasmin opened for the first time in what must have been months. The nursery smelled of neglect despite its beauty. Money could buy equipment, it couldn't buy presence. "My name is Yasmin," she said in English, then repeated in Yiddish, a habit from Brooklyn mornings when her neighbors spoke 6 languages before breakfast. "I'm going to open these curtains now, tell you what I see." The girl, Nadia, the paperwork had said, hidden in a drawer beneath blankets, continued rocking, eyes fixed on some middle distance that held nothing. Yasmin didn't expect response. Rachel hadn't responded those final weeks either, not in ways others recognized. But Yasmin had learned the language of small movements, the vocabulary of bodies that communicated in breaths and tensions rather than words. "The garden below is overgrown," Yasmin continued, her voice steady as her hands gathered supplies. "Rose bushes that need deadheading, a fountain that stopped running. Your mother must have loved gardens. I can see the design. Intention. Someone planned beauty here." She approached the wheelchair slowly, telegraphing every movement. "I'm going to touch your arm now, just your arm, to let you know I'm here." Contact made Nadia flinch, muscles spasmed, arms jerked. Yasmin didn't pull back, didn't make soothing sounds like one would to a frightened animal. Instead, she placed Nadia's hand on her own throat and spoke again. "Feel that? Vibration. That's how words live inside bodies before they become sound." Nadia's hand stilled, just slightly, but enough. The bath took an hour. Yasmin narrated everything: the temperature of water, the scent of soap, the texture of the washcloth. She'd done this before, known the particular gentleness required when someone's body had become unfamiliar territory, when care had become clinical rather than loving. "Your hair is beautiful," Yasmin said, working shampoo through tangles with patience that came from grief rather than training. "Thick, like your mother's, I think. I saw her picture." The hidden drawer had surrendered its secrets while Nadia slept. Photo albums documenting a different life. Amira Al-Mansour at protests, at school board meetings, at therapy sessions, always with Nadia, always fierce. Every photo screamed advocacy, determination, refusal to hide. Then, nothing. The album stopped 18 months ago, the final photo showing Amira and Nadia at some disability rights rally, both grinning, both fully present. Yasmin began humming while combing, wordless, tuneless, the same melody she'd hummed to Rachel during sponge baths and medication schedules, and the long hours when machines did the breathing. Not a lullaby, not quite, more like proof that silence didn't mean alone. Nadia's rocking slowed, then stopped. Yasmin kept humming, kept combing, and felt the exact moment when Nadia's hand, which had been limp in her lap, suddenly gripped Yasmin's wrist, not in distress, not in spasm, in curiosity. Yasmin's vision blurred. She kept combing, kept humming, and let tears fall where Nadia couldn't see them. This was why she'd come back to work after Rachel died, not for income, for this, the specific devastation of recognizing another invisible child. "I see you," Yasmin whispered, still humming between words. "I see you, Nadia." The doorway held Tariq Al-Mansour, home from morning prayers, still in his precisely pressed clothes. How long he'd been standing there, Yasmin couldn't say, but his eyes were wet, his composure cracked just enough to show the grief beneath. He said nothing. Yasmin said nothing, but she kept humming, kept seeing, and knew that some silences were louder than any speaking out could ever be. For now, this quiet witnessing was enough. Tomorrow would require more. Tomorrow, Yasmin would begin the work of making invisible children seen. One small ritual at a time, one hummed melody at a time, one refusal to look away at a time. The doorbell chimed on Yasmin's second evening, announcing visitors who clearly didn't need announcing. Zara Mansour entered with the authority of someone who'd never been denied access, her daughter Samira trailing behind like an apology made flesh. "Tariq," Zara said, not asked. "We're here for our check-in." Yasmin watched from the kitchen doorway as the women settled into the formal living room, accepting tea that Tariq prepared himself. No one mentioned the third floor, no one asked about Nadia. "Join us," Zara said when she noticed Yasmin hovering. It wasn't an invitation. The conversation flowed in English peppered with Arabic, talk of community events, mosque fundraisers, Amir's exemplary performance in medical school rotations. Zara spoke of her grandson with the pride of someone displaying a trophy. Then, Layla's latest law review publication, Hassan's upcoming university applications. 3 children, only ever 3. "You're settling in well?" Zara turned to Yasmin with a smile that held no warmth. "The house is manageable?" "It's a beautiful home," Yasmin said carefully. "We've worked very hard to maintain certain standards. After my daughter's passing," Zara's voice caught with practiced grief. "Amira was wonderful, but her choices sometimes created complications. We learned that discretion serves kindness." Yasmin's Arabic was rusty, learned from Mrs. Fidel, who'd lived next door in Brooklyn for 20 years, but she understood subtext in any language. "Ana astadi an usaid," Yasmin said. "I can help." "Bilbait kulu," with the whole house. Zara's teacup paused midway to her lips. Samira's eyes widened. "You speak Arabic," Zara said. "Shwaya." "A little. Brooklyn taught me many things." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Zara set her cup down with deliberate precision. "Then you understand when I say that some rooms require special consideration. The third floor, for instance, very delicate, very private." "Was hired to keep the house clean," Yasmin replied, still in Arabic. "All of it." Tariq shifted uncomfortably. Samira studied her hands. "After Amira's accident," Zara continued in English, her voice hardening, "the children couldn't cope. Nadia's condition had become too much. The sounds, the equipment, the constant attention. We suggested professional care, a facility designed for such needs. Tariq refused." She made his compassion sound like weakness. "So we compromised. Nadia stays comfortable, private, where the daily reminders don't overwhelm the family. Where they don't have to see her," Yasmin said quietly. Silence crashed through the room. "You weren't hired to have opinions about family matters," Zara said. "You were hired to dust and cook. The third floor is not your concern." After they left, Samira with an apologetic glance backward, Zara with a warning glare, Yasmin found Tariq standing at the base of the staircase, staring upward like a man contemplating a mountain he'd decided he couldn't climb. "My mother-in-law means well," he said. "Does she?" Tariq's shoulders sagged. Amira would have hated this, everything about it. She spent 12 years fighting. School boards, insurance companies, anyone who suggested Nadia should be hidden or fixed or managed. She was... He stopped, swallowed. She was so fierce. "And you?" Yasmin asked. "What are you?" "Tired," Tariq admitted. "Trying to honor her memory by keeping our family's reputation intact. Amira's activism made us visible, controversial. After she died, I thought maybe protecting Nadia meant protecting her from that judgment. Or, Yasmin said gently, protecting yourself from having to keep fighting her battles." Tariq flinched like she'd struck him, but he didn't argue. He just climbed the stairs to his office and closed the door. Yasmin climbed different stairs to where a girl rocked by a window, still waiting to be seen. "Your mother was fierce," Yasmin told her, settling into the chair she'd claimed as her own. "Tomorrow, I'll show you pictures I found. Tonight, I'll tell you what fierce looks like." And she began to hum. Day 5 arrived with autumn rain tapping against windows that Yasmin opened anyway. "Smell that?" she asked Nadia, guiding the girl's face toward the damp air. "Ozone, Earth, the world washing itself clean." Nadia's rocking had slowed over the past days. Not stopped, but changed rhythm, like a song finding its tempo. Yasmin narrated everything now. Not the false cheer of someone talking to a child, but the matter-of-fact commentary of someone who understood that words could build bridges when eyes couldn't focus and hands couldn't reach. Now I'm folding the blue towel. Feel how soft. She placed the fabric against Nadia's cheek. This is Egyptian cotton. Expensive. Your father has good taste in linens, less good taste in facing hard truths, but we're working on that. A small sound. Not quite a laugh, but not silence either. By day, 8. Yasmin had mapped Nadia's responses. Music through the small speaker she'd positioned against the wheelchair made Nadia's hands relax. Certain textures, silk, warm bread dough, cool marble, drew her attention. And vibrations. Always vibrations. You feel the world differently, Yasmin observed, placing Nadia's hand against her throat while she spoke. Not wrong, different. Your mama knew that. The photo albums told stories, the empty walls denied. Amira at protests, at IEP meetings, at therapy sessions, always with Nadia, always looking directly at the camera like she was daring the world to look away. In one photo, Nadia was laughing, head thrown back, maybe 7 years old, at some rally for disability rights. Her mother's hand was on her shoulder, and both of them looked absolutely certain they belonged exactly where they were. She never hid you, Yasmin whispered. She showed you off. On day 12, Yasmin tried something new. Look up if you want music, she said. Look left if you want quiet. Nothing. Just rocking. I'll wait, Yasmin said. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Then Nadia's eyes, which had been fixed on middle distance, tracked slowly upward. Music it is. 2 days later, Yasmin added more questions. Do you like music? Up. Yes. Do you want to stay in this room forever? Left, sustained, and a vocalization, low, frustrated, absolutely clear. No. Yasmin's hands shook as she reached for her phone, photographing the moment, not for evidence, for memory, for proof that seeing someone meant letting them answer back. On day 14, she was kneading challah dough, her weekly Shabbat ritual, adapted to this strange household where Jewish cooking fed a Muslim family that appreciated good bread more than theological consistency. Nadia watched from her chair, positioned where she could see Yasmin's hands working the dough. Want to feel? Yasmin asked. Up? Yes. Yasmin broke off a piece, placed it in Nadia's hand, closed her own hands around the girl's, and guided her through the motion. Press, fold, press, fold, the rhythm of creation, of making something from nothing. Nadia smiled, small, crooked, beautiful, the first smile in 18 months. Yasmin's vision blurred. She kept kneading, kept guiding Nadia's hands, and let the tears fall into the dough like salt into bread, necessary, transformative, part of what made it rise. That evening, she found Tariq in his office, surrounded by technology company financials that clearly held no answers to the questions that actually mattered. Look, she said, holding out her phone. He stared at the image. His daughter, smiling, and his face crumpled. He stood abruptly, left the room, but Yasmin heard him. Down the hall, in the bathroom where he'd gone to hide, she heard him crying. She deleted nothing. She'd learned from Rachel's illness that you documented every smile, every moment of presence, every proof that someone was still here, still fighting, still capable of joy. Tomorrow, she'd show him more. Tonight, she let him grieve for all the smiles he'd missed. Week 3 began with frost-etching patterns on windows that Yasmin opened anyway, narrating winter's arrival to a girl who'd spent too many seasons watching the world from behind glass. Your brother's coming home, Yasmin said, brushing Nadia's hair with the patience of someone who understood that tangles required gentleness, not force. Amir, the medical student, let's make sure he sees you. She'd learned the household rhythms, Tariq's elaborate avoidance strategies, the older children's carefully scheduled visits that never included the 3rd floor. But Amir was arriving for the weekend, and Yasmin had grown tired of patience. The accidental encounter required precise choreography. Yasmin positioned Nadia's wheelchair in the kitchen doorway at exactly 8 a.m. when Amir would shuffle in for coffee, jet-lagged and unguarded. He froze mid-reach for the cabinet. Good morning, Yasmin said pleasantly, as if 12-year-old girls in wheelchairs appeared in doorways all the time. Your sister wanted to watch you cook. I'm not. I should... Amir's composure cracked like ice under weight. His hand shook as he set down the mug. She'd like to see how you make coffee, Yasmin continued, wheeling Nadia forward before he could flee. You're studying to be a doctor. Surely you can manage basic narration. It was cruel, this forcing. Yasmin knew it, but sometimes healing required breaking before mending. Amir's breath came shallow. I don't know what to... Start with what you're doing. Yasmin placed a wooden spoon in his hand, then guided Nadia's fingers to close around it. She can feel you stirring. For 5 seconds, nothing happened. Then Amir's face crumpled like paper catching fire. I'm so sorry, he whispered in Arabic, still holding the spoon that held his sister's hand. Nadia, I'm so sorry. I was afraid. The other students made jokes about... I was a coward. Yasmin stepped back, giving them space for a reconciliation 18 months overdue. The weekend detonated the household's careful equilibrium. Layla arrived next, all sharp edges and defensive arguments. This isn't appropriate, she announced, finding Nadia at the kitchen table for lunch. She doesn't understand what's happening. You're exploiting... Sit with her for 10 minutes, Yasmin interrupted, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd earned the right to make demands. Then tell me what you see. Layla sat with the rigid posture of someone preparing for an ordeal. Yasmin demonstrated the communication system, eye movements for yes and no, vocalizations for emphasis. Do you remember me? Layla asked, her lawyer's training making the question sound like cross-examination. Nadia's eyes tracked upward. Yes. Layla's breath hitched. Do you want me here? Yes. Sustained, and a small vocalization that sounded almost like pleading. The sharp edges dissolved. Layla pressed her forehead against Nadia's shoulder and wept with the abandon of someone who'd been holding grief like a weapon and finally let it drop. By Friday, Yasmin had orchestrated the inevitable. Nadia will join us for Shabbat dinner, she announced, not asked. I've been preparing it weekly. Tonight, she eats with family. The table held awkward silence, punctuated by silverware against china. Yasmin lit candles, sang the blessing in Hebrew that carried its own stubborn beauty. Nadia vocalized, matching the melody's rhythm with uncanny precision. Everyone stared. Hassan, the youngest, reached across the table and took his sister's hand without hesitation, without calculation, with the simple certainty of someone young enough to remember what loving looked like before fear taught them otherwise. The title event realized itself in that moment. The family could no longer hide her. She was here, seen, claiming space at the table. And somewhere, Yasmin thought, Amira was watching. The 4th week brought routine, and with it, the dangerous illusion of permanence. Yasmin contacted Miriam Goldstein, a physical therapist from her temple, who agreed to consult off the books, a favor among Jewish women who understood that sometimes the right thing lived outside official channels. Severe neglect, Miriam said quietly after her assessment, her professional composure barely masking fury. Muscle atrophy, pressure sores healing poorly, but cognitive function intact. This child understands everything. I know, Yasmin said, and they convinced themselves it was protection. Miriam's jaw tightened. I'll write up exercises, gentle range of motion twice daily. She'll need proper equipment eventually, but we can start rebuilding now. The exercises became another ritual. Yasmin narrated each movement. Bend your elbow, yes, just like that, feel the muscle working, while Miriam visited twice weekly to monitor progress. Nadia's body slowly remembered what movement felt like when it meant freedom rather than spasm. Tariq began joining afternoon sessions in the garden. He'd watch from a distance initially, then edge closer, finally sitting on the bench where he could see Nadia's face. Amira fought everyone, he said one afternoon, speaking to Yasmin but looking at his daughter. School boards who wanted separate classrooms, insurance companies who called adaptive equipment cosmetic, family members who said we were being selfish, making Nadia's life harder by refusing to hide her. And you? Yasmin asked. I supported her publicly. Privately, I wished she'd choose easier battles. He paused. After she died, I thought maybe isolation was mercy. Maybe the world was too cruel. Maybe, Yasmin said carefully, you were too tired to keep fighting her fight. Tariq flinched but didn't argue. The older children visited the third floor now. Hassan brought his guitar, playing soft melodies that made Nadia's rocking synchronize with rhythm. Layla read case law aloud, disability rights precedents, her sharp voice gentling when she glanced up to find Nadia's eyes tracking her words. But resistance arrived with autumn's first frost. Neighbors began asking questions. Mrs. Patterson from next door, whose nosiness masked itself as concern. "I saw a child in the garden. I didn't know you had a daughter at home." Then the mosque community whispered. Tariq came home one evening with shoulders hunched, bearing the weight of judgment dressed as compassion. "Sister Fatima asked about Nadia today," he said quietly. "Others have noticed her. They wonder why we never mentioned. They're concerned about whether we need help managing." He couldn't finish. Didn't need to. The subtext was clear. Why is your disabled daughter suddenly visible? That afternoon, Yasmin returned from shopping to find Zara in the living room, having arrived unannounced, her face carrying the particular fury of someone whose authority had been challenged. "We need to talk," Zara said, the words edged like knives. "Yes," Yasmin agreed, setting down groceries with deliberate calm. "I believe we do." Outside the window, Nadia sat in her wheelchair in the garden, face turned toward the sun, finally visible to anyone who chose to look. The reckoning had arrived. Zara's arrival felt less like a visit and more like a siege, the way she positioned herself in the formal living room, Samira flanking her like a reluctant soldier, two community elders summoned as witnesses to righteousness. Yasmin stood in the doorway, still wearing her apron, flour dusting her hands from the bread she'd been kneading with Nadia upstairs. "We have concerns," Zara began, her English precise, her posture unyielding. "Serious concerns about the direction this household has taken." Tariq sat across from her, looking like a man who'd already lost the argument he hadn't yet made. "Mrs. Rosenthal has overstepped catastrophically," Zara continued, addressing the elders more than her son-in-law. "She was hired to clean. Instead, she's violated our family's privacy, our cultural values, our carefully considered decisions about Nadia's care." One of the elders, Brother Khalid, gray-bearded and measured, gestured for her to continue. "Nadia's condition requires discretion," Zara said. "After Amira's death, we made the compassionate choice to protect Nadia from a world that would never understand her, never accept her. We gave her comfort, safety, dignity through privacy." "You gave her a locked room?" Yasmin said quietly. The temperature dropped. Zara's eyes went cold. "You weren't invited to speak." Each word landed like a gavel. "Your staff. This is family business." "Then why am I here?" "Because you've made yourself part of the problem." Zara leaned forward, her voice sharpening. "You've paraded a disabled child through this house, displayed her to neighbors, created gossip that damages this family's standing. Amira's activism was difficult enough. The protests, the complaints, the attention. Must we continue broadcasting our struggles? Must we invite pity?" Amir spoke up from the corner, surprising everyone. "This isn't about pity. It's about shame. Our shame." Zara's head snapped toward her grandson. "You don't understand the complexities. I understand that I haven't looked at my sister in 18 months because it was easier than facing what we'd done." Layla stood beside her brother, her law student training evident in her careful words. "Grandmother, under both Islamic law and American disability law, Nadia has rights." "Rights?" Zara's laugh held no humor. "What about Layla's rights to marry without whispers about her family? What about Amir's professional reputation? What about Tariq's standing as a community leader?" She turned to the elders. "I've consulted attorneys. We can petition for guardianship, arguing that grief has compromised Tariq's judgment." The threat hung in the air like smoke. "I have documentation," Zara continued, producing a folder. "Community members expressing concern, letters from relatives, medical opinions about the stress disabled children place on families." Yasmin watched Tariq's face drain of color. His mother-in-law was offering him a way out: fire the troublesome housekeeper, return Nadia to the third floor, maintain appearances. All he had to do was choose reputation over his daughter. Brother Khalid cleared his throat. "These are serious matters. Perhaps a week's deliberation?" "No." Hassan's voice cracked, young and fierce. "We've deliberated for 18 months. We've chosen wrong every single day." Zahra stood, her authority absolute. Your children. You don't make these decisions. She looked at Tariq. Fire Mrs. Rosenthal by week's end. Return Nadia upstairs. Or I'll file for guardianship Monday morning. Choose your daughter or choose your community. You can't have both. After they left, Samira tearful, Zara triumphant, Tariq sat motionless. What would Amira do? Yasmin asked softly. His hands shook. Amira would fight, but I'm so tired of fighting. Yasmin nodded once, then climbed the stairs to where a girl waited by a window, still learning that she deserved to be seen. Tomorrow, Yasmin would make a call that would change everything. Tonight, she'd hold Nadia and hum. Yasmin's apartment smelled like dust and abandonment. 2 years since David died, 2 years since Rachel followed, and she'd barely lived here, just existed between shifts, filling silence with work because grief demanded occupation. Now, she sat at her kitchen table at midnight, phone in hand, and made the call that would either save Nadia or destroy everything. Jewish Family Services, crisis line. I need help, Yasmin said, but not the kind you might think. The conversation took an hour. By the end, she had a name. Sarah Lieberman, disability rights attorney, interfaith advocate, someone who understood both the legal framework and the cultural complexities. They met the next morning at a coffee shop 3 neighborhoods away from the Al Mansour house. Sarah was younger than Yasmin expected, 38, sharp-eyed, wearing efficiency like armor. Tell me everything, she said. Leave nothing out. Yasmin did. The locked room, the neglect, the family's shame, Zara's ultimatum. She showed photos and videos on her phone, Nadia smiling at the challah dough, Nadia's eyes tracking upward for yes, Nadia's hand gripping Yasmin's wrist in curiosity, not distress. The family's not cruel, Yasmin emphasized. They're drowning in grief and fear, and someone convinced them hiding equals protecting. Sarah studied the images. Legally, this is complicated. Nadia's not in immediate danger. She's fed, sheltered, medically stable. But emotionally, this is devastating neglect. I'm being fired in 5 days. Then we have 5 days. Sarah pulled out her laptop. We can't force family reunification, but we can request a community hearing, a mediation about Nadia's care before any guardianship petition moves forward. And if we do that, Nadia herself has the right to participate. She can't speak. She can, with accommodation, Sarah typed rapidly. Eye-gaze communication devices. They track eye movement, let nonverbal people select words, build sentences. Insurance covers them for cerebral palsy. It'll take 3 days to get one authorized and delivered, but I'll buy it, Yasmin said. Today. They're expensive, $3,000 to $4,000. I have savings. Rachel's medical bills had consumed most of David's life insurance, but Yasmin had tucked away enough for emergencies. This qualified. How fast can we get it? By afternoon, they'd ordered the device for overnight delivery. Sarah drafted the hearing request. Yasmin documented everything she could remember, dates, observations, the photo albums showing Amira's advocacy work, proof that Nadia had once had a full life. The family will see this as betrayal, Sarah warned. The family is betraying Nadia every day through silence. Yasmin met her eyes. Sometimes speaking out is the only kindness left. Back at the house, Yasmin moved through her routines with careful normalcy. She cleaned, she cooked, she spent hours with Nadia, preparing her for what was coming without promises she couldn't keep. Something's going to change, Yasmin told her, placing Nadia's hand on her throat so the girl could feel the words. You're going to have a voice soon, a real voice. Are you ready? Nadia's eyes tracked upward. Yes. Are you afraid? Up? Yes. Me too. Yasmin kept humming, kept hoping, and waited for the device that would let an invisible girl finally speak her truth. 3 days until termination. 3 days to teach Nadia to use technology she'd never touched. 3 days to prepare a family for a confrontation they didn't see coming. Yasmin had spent 2 years learning that sometimes love meant letting go. Now she'd learn whether love also meant refusing to. The device arrived in an unmarked box that Yasmin signed for at dawn, before Tariq descended for his morning coffee. She carried it upstairs like contraband, like hope wrapped in bubble wrap and possibility. Nadia watched from her wheelchair as Yasmin unpacked the tablet. Sleek, mounted on an adjustable arm, its camera designed to track the smallest eye movements and transform them into language. "This is your voice," Yasmin said, positioning the device at eye level. "Watch." She demonstrated, her own eyes selecting words from the grid. "Hello, my name is Yasmin." The synthesized voice emerged, flat but functional. Nadia's eyes widened. "Your turn. Look at yes." Nothing. Nadia's gaze scattered like light through broken glass. Yasmin waited. She'd learned patience from Rachel's final months, when every small victory, swallowing a sip of water, squeezing a hand, required infinite time. 5 minutes passed, 10. Then Nadia's eyes tracked deliberately to the corner marked yes. "Yes," the device announced. Nadia's entire body went still. Then she made a sound, not quite a laugh, but close enough to devastation and joy that Yasmin had to turn away to hide her tears. They worked for hours building vocabulary, one agonizing word at a time. The eye tracking was imperfect. Nadia's cerebral palsy meant her movements were unpredictable, her muscles unreliable. She'd aim for music and hit water, reach for mama and land on angry. But Yasmin adjusted the sensitivity, enlarged the targets, and refused to accept that difficulty meant impossible. Miriam arrived that afternoon to help with positioning. They angled the wheelchair differently, added padding, adjusted the device's height until Nadia could maintain focus without straining. "Try a full sentence," Miriam suggested. Yasmin programmed in shortcuts, common phrases Nadia might need. "I want," "I need," "please," "thank you." "What do you want to say?" Yasmin asked. Nadia's concentration was fierce, her eyes moving with deliberate slowness across the grid. "I want my family." The words emerged one at a time, synthesized and certain. Yasmin pressed her hand to her mouth. Miriam looked away. "You'll tell them tomorrow," Yasmin promised. "They'll hear you." The older siblings filtered in over the next 2 days. Amir between study sessions, Layla during a break from law school, Hassan after guitar practice. Yasmin demonstrated the device, then stepped back to let Nadia speak for herself. "Do you remember me?" Layla asked, her lawyer's composure cracking. "Yes, miss you." Hassan positioned his guitar where Nadia could see. "Want me to play?" "Yes, please." Amir explained Nadia's cerebral palsy using medical terminology, then stopped himself. "Sorry, you know your own condition better than I do." "Not stupid," Nadia selected. "Just trapped." The word hung in the air like smoke. "Not anymore," Amir whispered. On the final night before the community meeting, Yasmin asked the question that terrified her most. "Are you afraid of tomorrow?" "Yes." "Do you want to speak? You can say no. We can find another way." Long pause. Nadia's eyes moved across the grid with aching slowness, selecting each word with the gravity of someone who'd been silent for 18 months and knew exactly what breaking that silence might cost. "Want family, see me," Mama said. "Fight, I fight now." Yasmin held Nadia through the night, humming the wordless melody that had connected them from the beginning. Outside, frost etched patterns on windows. Inside, a girl who'd been invisible was preparing to be seen. Tomorrow would require more courage than Yasmin had left, but tonight, they'd rest in the space between silence and speaking, where hope lived alongside fear, and love demanded witness. The device sat mounted on Nadia's wheelchair like a promise. Tomorrow, they'd learn if promises were enough. The mosque's community center smelled of cardamom coffee and institutional furniture polish. Yasmin wheeled Nadia through doors that felt less like entry and more like crossing a border where return might prove impossible. Tariq sat rigid in the front row, flanked by his older children. Zara commanded the opposite side, her daughter Samira beside her, 2 community elders lending their bearded authority to whatever judgment was about to unfold. Sarah Lieberman stood near the mediator's table, professional and prepared, her briefcase holding documentation Yasmin knew could destroy or heal this family depending on how truth was wielded. "We're here," the mediator began, his voice deliberately neutral, "to discuss Nadia Al-Mansour's care and her family's concerns about recent changes in household management." Zara leaned forward. "We're here because a housekeeper has violated our privacy, manipulated a vulnerable child, and created scandal where there should have been dignified discretion." She presented her case with devastating effectiveness. Community letters expressing concern, relatives questioning Tariq's judgment, medical documentation suggesting that disabled children created unsustainable family stress. Nadia requires specialized care, Zara argued. Professional care. Her visibility creates gossip that damages her siblings' prospects and her father's community standing. We made the compassionate choice to protect her from a world that would never understand. Yasmin watched Tariq's face as his mother-in-law spoke. He looked like a man already defeated. Then Sarah stood. Mrs. Mansour makes compelling arguments about protection, but we need to clarify what or whom was being protected. She presented evidence methodically, photos of Nadia's deterioration during isolation, documentation of her cognitive capabilities, testimony from Miriam about the physical neglect, nothing inflammatory, just facts arranged in devastating clarity. The question, Sarah continued, isn't whether Nadia needed protection. It's whether hiding equals protecting. And perhaps we should ask, Nadia herself. Zara's laugh held contempt. The child cannot speak. This is exactly the manipulation She can, Yasmin interrupted quietly, with accommodation. The room went silent. Yasmin wheeled Nadia to face the assembly. The device mounted on her wheelchair caught the fluorescent light. Nadia's eyes, terrified but determined, found her father's face. Nadia, Sarah said gently, do you want to live with your family? The room held its breath. Nadia's eyes moved across the grid. Yes, want family? See me. Zara stood abruptly. She's been coached. But Nadia wasn't finished. Her eyes tracked with aching slowness, building words that had waited 18 months. Mama said fight, not hide, fight. The words echoed through the community center. Amira's words, her signature phrase. Layla broke first, moving to embrace her sister. Then Hassan, crossing the room like someone who'd finally remembered how to move toward rather than away. Amir stood, his medical training evident in his careful words. I'm training to heal people, but I abandoned my sister because I feared judgment. My mother would despise who I've become. He looked at the elders. Despise all of us. Even Samira, Amira's sister, finally spoke through tears. We told ourselves isolation was mercy, but my sister is screaming at us from her grave. The mediator turned to Tariq. Mr. Al-Mansour, the decision is yours. What do you choose? Tariq crossed to Nadia's wheelchair and knelt. When he spoke, it was in Arabic first, then English. Your mama was right. I've been honoring her wrong. Can you forgive me? Love, Baba. Want home. He pressed his forehead against his daughter's shoulder and wept. The hearing dissolved into something less formal. Family members embracing, community elders quietly reconsidering, Zara sitting rigid and defeated. Tariq found Yasmin by the door. Stay, he said. Not as a maid, as family. Nadia calls you Safta, be her grandmother. Yasmin looked at the girl by the window who'd taught her that witness was a form of love, that speaking out meant refusing silence when silence became complicity. Yes, she said. Some families were born. Others were built through courage. Yasmin's apartment held the particular silence of spaces that had forgotten how to be homes. She unpacked her belongings methodically, apron folded, Rachel's photo placed on the nightstand, the smell of Nadia's nursery still caught in her clothes like accusation. Her phone didn't ring. She attended synagogue Friday evening, arriving late, leaving early. Rabbi Cohen caught her arm at the door. You look like you're carrying something heavy, he said. I am. Yasmin's voice came rough. A child I can't save. She told him everything. The locked room, the communication device, the hearing, the separation. He listened with the stillness of someone who understood that witnessing required more than hearing. I'll write a letter, he said. Interfaith advocacy for a vulnerable child. Sometimes moral authority comes from unexpected places. Thank you. Yasmin. He squeezed her hand. Speaking out when it costs you everything. That's the hardest righteousness. She walked home through streets that felt unfamiliar, though she'd lived here 30 years. Everything felt wrong without Nadia's weight in her care, without the third-floor routine that had given her grief purpose. Meanwhile, 3 miles away, the Al-Mansour house was coming apart. Nadia refused food. Her rocking returned with violence that made the wheelchair shudder. Hassan tried playing guitar through her closed door. She wouldn't respond. Amir attempted the communication device. She turned her face away. On day 3, Layla called from a bathroom at law school, voice breaking. She's asking for you. The device just repeats, "Safta gone. Want Safta." Yasmin pressed the phone against her chest, grief a physical thing. "I can't violate the legal boundary. Tell her I love her." "That won't be enough." "I know." Day 4 brought discovery. Hassan, clearing boxes from the attic, found a sealed envelope addressed to Tariq in Amira's handwriting. He brought it to his father's office like evidence of something sacred. Tariq opened it with hands that shook. "My love, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I need you to promise me on everything we've built that you'll never hide our daughter. Nadia deserves to be seen, to be part of our family without shame. Her presence is not a burden. It's a blessing that tests whether we truly live our values. The world will judge. Let them. Our community will whisper. Let them. But do not let fear make you invisible to our child. She needs you to be brave when I cannot be. Fight for her, Tariq, the way I fought, the way she deserves. Your Amira." Tariq read it 7 times. Then he climbed to the 3rd floor and sat outside Nadia's room, back against the door, and wept with the abandon of someone finally allowing grief to break what needed breaking. Inside, Nadia's rocking slowed. She'd heard him. Day 6 arrived with frost that turned the garden skeletal. Yasmin made tea she didn't drink, ate toast she didn't taste, and waited for Monday's hearing with the dread of someone who understood that sometimes love meant forcing people to choose. Her phone rang at 8 p.m. "Tariq." "The hearing is still on?" he asked. "Yes." "Good." His voice carried something new, not quite hope, but determination's sharper edge. "Nadia needs to speak, and I need to listen." "You're sure?" "Amira left me a letter. She's been screaming at me from her grave for 18 months. I'm finally hearing her." "What changed?" "Everything. Nothing. I realized honoring her memory means honoring what she actually believed, not what's convenient." He paused. "Will you bring Nadia to the hearing?" "I'll be there." After he hung up, Yasmin sat in darkness, touching Rachel's necklace, and understood that tomorrow would require more courage than she'd thought she had left. But courage, she'd learned, wasn't about having enough. It was about showing up anyway. The community center smelled of cardamom coffee and the particular tension of decisions that would reshape lives. Yasmin wheeled Nadia through doors that felt less like entrance and more like threshold, the kind you couldn't cross back over unchanged. Sarah Lieberman stood near the mediator's table, professional composure firmly in place. Tariq sat with his children on one side. Zara commanded the other, Samira beside her, 2 elders flanking them like bookends of judgment. "Before the elders speak," Amir said, standing, "we'd like to address the community." Brother Khalid nodded permission. Amir's usual composure had dissolved into something raw. "I'm training to heal people. That's what I tell everyone. Future doctor, here to help." His voice cracked. "But I abandoned my sister because I feared what medical school classmates would say. Because it was easier to hide than explain." He turned to Nadia. "Mama would despise who I've become. She fought every battle for you, and I walked away from all of them." Layla stood next. Gone was the sharp-edged law student, replaced by someone whose certainty had crumbled into truth. "I've been researching disability rights for a brief. I can cite precedents, quote statutes, argue constitutional protections." She laughed bitterly. "But what good is knowing justice if I don't practice it? Under both Islamic law and American law, Nadia has rights. I've known that. I just didn't care enough to fight." Then Hassan, voice shaking, unfolded pages from his journal. "These are entries from the past 18 months. Listen. November 14th. Heard Nadia crying through the ceiling. Put on headphones. Played louder. January 8th. Dad asked if I wanted to visit her. I said I had homework. I didn't. March 22nd. Grandmother said we were protecting Nadia. I knew we were protecting ourselves." His hands trembled. "I'm 16 and I've been a coward." He pulled out his phone, played a recording, Nadia's vocalizations matching his guitar from 2 weeks prior, joyful and present. Then silence. This week's silence. "This is what we did," Hassan said. "We killed her voice again." Zara attempted rebuttal, words about family honor, cultural values, community standing. But Samira, who'd been silent through everything, finally broke. "Stop." The word came strangled. "Mama, stop." Everyone stared. "I loved Amira," Samira said through tears, "but I resented her too. The activism, the controversy, the attention. When she died, I supported hiding Nadia because—" She pressed hands against her face. "Because seeing Nadia meant confronting that my sister was gone, and I'm a coward who chose comfort over truth." Her voice strengthened. "But Amira is screaming at us. Can't you hear her? Everything we've done dishonors what she believed." The elders turned to Tariq. "Your decision? Bring my daughter forward." Sarah wheeled Nadia to center. The device mounted on her wheelchair caught fluorescent light. "Nadia," Sarah asked gently, "do you want to live with your family?" Eye tracking, word selection, the synthesized voice. "Yes, want family, see me." Zara stood. "She's been coached." But Nadia wasn't finished. Her eyes moved with aching deliberation across the grid, building words that had waited 18 months. "Mama said fight, not hide. Fight," the room gasped. Amira's signature phrase. Layla burst from her seat, embracing her sister. Hassan joined, then Amir. They held each other while Zara sat rigid and defeated. Tariq knelt before Nadia's wheelchair, speaking Arabic, then English. "Your mama was right. I've been honoring her wrong. Can you forgive me? Love, Baba. Want home. Then come home." He looked at Yasmin. Not as maid, as family, as Safta. Yasmin crossed to them, standing beside the wheelchair, and placed her hand on Nadia's shoulder. Through the device, Nadia spoke once more. "Two mothers. Both love me." Outside, frost melted in morning sun. Inside, a family learned that healing required not just feeling guilt, but taking action to repair harm. Some transformations happened in moments. Others took 18 months of silence before truth could finally speak. Yasmin returned to a house transformed by intention rather than money. Tariq had begun renovations the day after the hearing. Wheelchair ramp installed where marble steps once proclaimed wealth. Doorways widened to accommodate passage rather than photographs. The first-floor study converted into Nadia's bedroom, so she'd be part of daily life instead of hidden 3 floors above it. "This was Amira's office," Tariq said, gesturing to the space now holding a hospital bed, adaptive equipment, windows overlooking the garden. "She planned campaigns here, wrote letters to school boards, organized protests. Now, Nadia will plan her own life here." Nadia's eyes tracked across the room, landing on photos Tariq had hung. Amira at rallies, at therapy sessions, at IEP meetings, always fierce, always present. "Mama here," Nadia selected through her device. "See me now." Over the next 3 months, new rhythms emerged like music finding its tempo. Nadia attended specialized school 3 days weekly, Yasmin accompanying initially until Nadia's confidence built enough to go alone. The communication device became her constant companion. She was funny, telling Hassan his guitar playing needs work, opinionated, requesting Layla read adult books not baby books, and surprisingly wise. Amir brought medical school friends to meet her, transforming Nadia from abstract case study into person who made them laugh and challenged their assumptions about cerebral palsy. He'd chosen a new specialty, physical medicine and rehabilitation, explaining to anyone who'd listen that his sister taught him what healing actually meant. Layla shifted her law focus entirely, clerking for a judge handling disability. Discrimination cases her sharp arguments now wielded for rather than against vulnerability. She visited weekends, reading case law aloud while Nadia's eyes followed the words, occasionally interrupting through the device to offer insights that made Layla rethink her positions. Hassan composed a piece for Nadia, guitar and synthesized voice, her words selected through eye tracking woven into melody. He performed it at his college application audition, explaining to the panel that his sister had taught him music's true purpose, connection across difference. Tariq joined a support group for parents of disabled children, Muslim and non-Muslim families navigating similar battles. He began speaking publicly about disability inclusion in faith communities, his tech entrepreneur platform suddenly deployed for advocacy rather than reputation. Some community members remained distant, their discomfort evident in careful avoidance. But others approached cautiously, asking questions, admitting they had relatives hidden away, wondering if change was possible even after years of silence. Zara maintained distance, but sent gifts at holidays. Expensive, impersonal, accompanied by cards signed but not warm. Samira became unexpected ally, volunteering to help with Nadia's care, attending therapy appointments, slowly learning the language of presence. Yasmin established Friday tradition, Shabbat candles at sunset, Hebrew blessings sung over challah she'd taught Nadia to help knead, then Nadia's request for Arabic music and stories about Amira. 2 faiths, 1 table, love requiring no translation. Tell me about mama fighting, Nadia would request through the device, and Tariq would share new memory each week, Amira confronting school board members, Amira organizing disability rights rallies, Amira refusing to let anyone make Nadia invisible. I fight now, Nadia declared one evening, like Mama. You do, Yasmin agreed, brushing Nadia's hair with the patience of someone who understood that care was love made visible. Every single day. The 3rd floor stood empty now, door open, windows revealing what had once been beautiful prison. They'd left it unchanged, memorial to what grief could justify, reminder of what courage could undo. Outside, frost etched patterns on windows. Inside, a family learned that healing required not perfection but persistence, not forgetting harm but refusing to repeat it. Some transformations happened in moments, others required choosing differently every day until new patterns replaced old fears. This was the harder healing, the kind that lasted. The 1-year anniversary of Yasmin's arrival fell on a Thursday, cold enough that breath fogged windows but not cold enough to keep people away. They'd planned it deliberately, an open house, a public statement, a refusal to hide. The guest list was intentional testimony, mosque community members who'd whispered and those who'd supported, Jewish family services staff including Sarah and Rabbi, Cohen, Miriam the therapist, disability advocates from organizations Amira had championed, families from Nadia's school whose children had become her fierce friends. Photos of Amira covered every wall, not hidden in albums but displayed proudly. Amira at protests, signs raised. Amira at school board meetings, testimony delivered. Amira with Nadia at disability rights rallies, both grinning, both absolutely certain they belonged exactly where they were. Nadia wore a dress she'd chosen herself through the device, deep blue, comfortable rather than decorative. Her hair was styled, her wheelchair positioned where she could greet guests, her communication device ready. You've gained weight, Mrs. Patterson from next door observed, the nosiness that had once fueled gossip now deployed toward care. Safta cooks good, Nadia responded through the device, making Yasmin laugh. The older children served as unofficial tour guides, explaining renovations with the pride of people who'd helped design accessibility rather than hide disability. Layla discussed her clerkship work on disability rights cases. Amir shared his plans for a residency in physical medicine. Hassan played the composition he'd created with Nadia, their collaboration evident in every measure. Tariq spoke briefly, addressing the assembled crowd. My wife Amira spent 12 years fighting for our daughter to be seen, valued, included. After she died, I spent 18 months dishonoring everything she believed. I'm grateful to everyone here who refused to let me continue failing. Zara attended, uncomfortable but present, bringing traditional dessert that suggested reconciliation remained possible, even if transformation remained incomplete. She sat with Samira in the corner, watching rather than directing, her authority diminished but her attendance meaningful. When someone asked Nadia if she was happy, the room quieted. Her eyes moved deliberately across the device. I have family now. Real family. See me. Later in the kitchen, where most important conversations happened, Tariq asked Yasmin what she wanted. Officially, her role had remained ambiguous, hovering between employee and family member in ways that sometimes felt uncomfortable. I want to be Safta, Yasmin said, touching Rachel's necklace. I want Nadia to have what my Rachel didn't, time. Then stay. Permanently, as family. He paused. The 3rd floor has a suite we've never used. Make it yours. Yasmin looked through the doorway where Nadia held court, surrounded by people who'd learned to see her, to listen, to value her presence rather than tolerate her difference. Mama would like Safta, Nadia announced through the device, her timing perfect as always. Outside, afternoon light turned the garden golden. Inside, 2 families, one biological, one chosen, both real, proved that love required not blood but commitment, not perfection but presence, not easy answers but courageous questions. Yasmin moved her belongings the following week. Her apartment became storage, but this house became home, the place where she'd learned that grief's purpose was teaching us to see others' pain, that speaking out meant refusing complicity, that families were built through choosing to show up. Every day, when doubt arrived, she'd remember. Some people needed saving. Others needed witnessing. Nadia had needed both, and so had Yasmin. The third floor stood empty, a memorial to what they'd overcome. The first floor held life, messy, complicated, beautiful. 18 months after Yasmin first turned a key in a locked door, the family stood at Amira's grave on the second anniversary of her death. November cold had stripped the cemetery bare, leaving headstones stark against gray sky, beauty and honesty rather than decoration. Nadia's wheelchair left tracks in frost-hardened ground. The communication device mounted on the arm had become extension of her body, voice where silence once lived. Tariq knelt before the headstone, tracing letters with fingers that no longer shook. Amira al-Mansour, advocate, mother, fighter. He'd chosen the inscription himself, finally understanding that honoring her meant claiming rather than hiding what she'd been. "I brought our family," he said in Arabic, then English, the code switching that marked their household now. "All of them, the way you wanted." Layla placed flowers, her law school ring catching weak sunlight. She'd graduated top of her class, turned down corporate offers, accepted a fellowship in disability rights law. "Mama, I'm fighting your battles now. Better late than never." Amir stood beside his fiancée, a woman who worked in disability advocacy, who'd met Nadia before him and loved his sister's fierce humor. "I'm specializing in physical medicine," he told the stone. "Nadia's teaching me what healing actually means." Hassan had brought his guitar, playing softly, the composition he'd created with Nadia, her synthesized words woven into melody. The piece had earned him scholarship to music therapy program. He'd learned that connection mattered more than perfection. Nadia's device spoke, words she'd prepared. "Tell Mama I'm not hidden. Tell her I fight now." "She knows," Tariq whispered. "She's been watching." Yasmin hung back initially, giving the family space for grief that belonged to them. But Layla gestured her forward, and Amir extended his hand, and Hassan made room in the circle they'd formed around the grave. Some families were born, others were built through courage. Through the device, Nadia selected words with the deliberation of someone who'd learned that speaking required more bravery than silence. "Two mothers, both love me, both see me." Yasmin's vision blurred. 2 years since Rachel died, 2 years of learning that grief's purpose was teaching us to witness others' pain, that loss could become lens for seeing the invisible. "Your mama was right about everything," Yasmin told Nadia, her hand on the girl's shoulder. "Family isn't about perfection. It's about showing up." The cemetery held other mourners, Muslim families at nearby graves, Jewish families in the older section, the living tending to the dead in rituals that transcended difference. A woman nodded at Yasmin across the path, recognizing something in the configuration of their grief. Tariq stood, addressing the headstone one final time. "I finally understand what you were trying to teach me. That Nadia's presence isn't burden. It's blessing that tests whether we truly live our values, that hiding never equals protecting, that love requires witness." "Mama would be proud," Nadia selected. "Family whole now." "Not perfect," Tariq corrected gently. "Whole is different than perfect." They stood together as afternoon light shifted. Muslim, Jewish, biological, chosen, proving that families were defined not by how they were formed, but by who refused to abandon whom. Yasmin hummed the wordless melody that had connected her to Nadia from the beginning. Nadia vocalized, matching rhythm with the precision that came from 18 months of practice at being heard. The sound carried across frozen ground, proof that silence could be broken, that invisible children could learn to speak, that healing required not forgetting harm, but refusing to repeat it. They left as the sun set, Nadia's wheelchair leaving new tracks beside the old. Behind them, Amira's headstone stood witness to the family she'd fought for, the daughter she'd refused to hide, the love that demanded everyone be seen. "Going home now," Nadia announced. "Real home." And they did.